She had been in my house for 3 years before I truly saw her. 3 years. More than 1,000 days. She cleaned the room where I slept. She cooked the food I ate. She washed the clothes I wore. And I could not remember her face until that morning, the morning that changed everything. I found her standing alone in the kitchen. The sun had just risen, spilling golden light through the window like honey poured from heaven. It fell across her dark hair, across her shoulders, across the tears sliding down her cheeks. She was crying, without sound, without movement. Tears fell, but no noise escaped her lips, as if she had learned long ago how to suffer without disturbing anyone. That was the first time I truly saw Ayana, and from that moment, I could not stop looking. My name is Caleb Thornwood. I was 40 years old that spring of 1887. I owned 4,000 acres of Montana land, 800 head of cattle, and a house big enough to echo with emptiness. My father built this ranch from nothing. My wife died in it 4 years ago, and I had been slowly dying in it ever since. The Thornwood Ranch sat at the edge of the Bitterroot Valley, where the mountains met the sky and the wind never stopped moving. We controlled the only reliable water source for 50 miles. That made us powerful. That made us targets. But I did not think about enemies that morning. I thought only about the woman crying in my kitchen. Ayana came to the ranch 3 years before, after the government scattered her people across reservations like seeds thrown to hostile wind. She was 20 then, 20 years old with nothing but the clothes on her back and eyes that had already seen too much death. The foreman hired her because Apache women worked hard and asked for nothing. That was what he told me. I nodded and forgot about her before he finished speaking. For 3 years she existed at the edges of my vision, a shadow passing through doorways, a shape bending over washboards, a figure carrying water before dawn and after dark. The other workers called her the Apache girl when they remembered her at all. They did not mean cruelty. They simply did not see her as someone worth remembering. Neither did I. She had perfected the art of invisibility. Her footsteps made no sound. Her eyes never lifted from the floor. She ate only after everyone else finished, taking whatever scraps remained. She spoke only when spoken to, and even then, her voice barely rose above a whisper. I learned later that she did this on purpose. In her world, being seen meant being targeted. Being noticed meant being hurt. So she made herself into a ghost, haunting her own life. That morning in the kitchen, I stood frozen in the doorway. I watched her wipe her tears with the back of her hand, straighten her spine, and return to kneading bread as if nothing had happened. She did not know I was there. I should have walked away. I should have pretended I saw nothing, the way I had pretended for 3 years. But something held me in place. Something about the way she squared her shoulders. Something about the strength it took to cry without sound and then continue working. I cleared my throat. She spun around. Her eyes went wide, then dropped immediately to the floor. Her hands stopped moving over the dough. "Sir, I did not hear you." Her voice was soft, careful. The voice of someone who had learned that words could be weapons used against her. "Are you all right?" The question surprised us both. I had never asked her anything personal. I had never asked her anything at all. She hesitated. I could see her calculating, trying to determine what answer would cause the least trouble. "I am fine, sir. Thank you." She returned to the bread. Conversation over. Boundary restored. But I did not leave. I stood there watching her work, noticing for the first time the graceful economy of her movements, the way her hands knew exactly what to do without her eyes guiding them, the proud set of her jaw beneath the humble bow of her head. "You work too much," I said. She stopped again. This time she did not turn around. "Sir, you start before dawn. You finish after dark. When do you rest?" A long pause, then quietly, "I rest when the work is done. The work is never done on a ranch. No, sir, it is not. I heard something in her voice then. Not complaint, not self-pity, something else entirely. Something like acceptance of a truth so deep it had become part of her bones. I left without another word, but throughout that day I found myself looking for her, watching for her, noticing things I had been blind to for 3 years. She ate last, always, standing near the back door, holding a plate with whatever the others had left behind. She stepped aside whenever anyone approached, pressing herself against walls as if trying to disappear into them. When visitors came, she vanished entirely. I would look for her and find only empty spaces where she had been. That evening, I told Ezra Dawson to set aside a proper plate for her. Ezra was 58 years old, my foreman and my father's friend before that. He had known me since I was born. He raised one eyebrow but said nothing. The next day, I told him to reduce her working hours. The day after that, I found myself standing at the window, watching her cross the yard in the early morning light. Ezra came to stand beside me. He was a weathered man with kind eyes and a soldier's bearing. We had fought together in the war, though he was old enough to be my father. He saved my life at Gettysburg. I saved his at Cold Harbor. That kind of bond did not require many words. Careful, he said. I did not answer. She is not like the others. She sees everything, remembers everything, and she has survived things that would break most men. I know. Do you? He turned to look at me. Because the way you have been watching her, the whole ranch will know soon, and your mother arrives tomorrow. That evening, Ezra told me something that changed how I understood her. We were checking rifles in the armory when he mentioned it casually, as if it were nothing important. The Apache girl knows her way around firearms. Found her cleaning one of the old Winchesters last month. Asked where she learned. He paused to oil a trigger mechanism. Said she spent 2 years alone in the wilderness before coming here. Hunted her own food. Protected herself from wolves and worse. I stopped what I was doing. 2 years? Alone? After her people were scattered, before she found work here. Ezra shook his head slowly. Most men I know could not survive 2 months in that country by themselves. She did 2 years. I looked out the window toward the small building where Ayana lived. A single candle burned in the darkness. She was not just a ghost who had learned to be invisible. She was a survivor who had chosen invisibility as another form of armor. The next morning, my mother arrived. Lucinda Thornwood came in a carriage polished to a shine, wearing a dress that cost more than most families earned in a year. Behind her came another carriage, and in it sat Charlotte Whitmore, daughter of the man who held the mortgage on my land. My mother had been busy. Charlotte was 28 years old, beautiful in the way expensive things are beautiful, and utterly certain of her place in the world. She smiled at me like I was a problem she had already solved. Caleb, my mother said, kissing my cheek. You look thin. Does no one feed you properly? Before I could answer, her eyes swept across the yard and stopped on Ayana, who was carrying water from the well. Who is that? One of the workers. My mother's gaze lingered. Then she smiled and something cold moved behind her eyes. We have much to discuss. Inside. That evening, over dinner, she laid out her plan. The ranch was in debt. The Whitmore family was willing to forgive that debt in exchange for a marriage alliance. Charlotte would bring respectability. I would bring land. Together, we would build an empire. Charlotte sat across from me, eating delicately, speaking only when appropriate. She was everything a wife should be, educated, refined, from the right family, and I felt nothing. I found myself looking past her, through the window toward the small building where Ayana lived. Caleb, my mother's voice cut through my thoughts. Are you listening? Yes. Then you understand. This is not a choice. This is necessity. That night I walked outside alone. The moon hung low and full, casting silver light across the land my father had bled for. In the distance, I heard cattle lowing. Closer, I heard the creak of the windmill turning. And somewhere in the darkness, I heard singing. It was soft, barely more than a whisper carried on the wind, a melody I did not recognize, in words I could not understand. I followed the sound to the edge of the property. Ayana sat on a fallen log, face turned toward the moon, singing something ancient and sad. She stopped when she heard my approach. Her body went rigid. "It is just me," I said. She stood quickly, head bowed. "I apologize, sir. I did not mean to disturb." "You did not disturb me. What were you singing?" She hesitated. "A song my mother taught me. For the dead." "Who did you lose?" A pause so long I thought she would not answer. "Everyone." The word hung between us. Everyone. A word containing multitudes of grief I could not imagine. "I am sorry," I said. She looked up then, just for a moment, just long enough for me to see the surprise in her eyes. "No one has ever said that to me." Before I could respond, she walked away into the darkness, leaving me alone with the wind and the moon and the weight of all the things I should have said 3 years ago. 5 days after my mother arrived, Silas Redmond came to my door. He rode in with 4 men at his back, all of them armed, all of them watching my ranch hands with the cold eyes of predators measuring prey. Silas himself was a tall man, gray at the temples with a kind of smile that never reached his eyes. I met him on the porch. I did not invite him inside. "Thornwood," he said, tipping his hat. "Beautiful property. Shame about the debt." "What do you want, Redmond?" "Straight to business. I like that." He leaned forward in his saddle. "I want your water rights, the creek running through your eastern pasture. I will pay fair price." "Not for sale." His smile widened. "Everything is for sale. It is just a matter of finding the right price or the right pressure." "Is that a threat?" "An observation." His eyes drifted toward the main house, then stopped on something behind me. I turned. Ayana stood near the well, frozen in place, watching. "I hear you have an Apache girl working here. Pretty thing. Dangerous times for pretty things wandering around unprotected." My hand moved to my gun. "Get off my land." Silas laughed. "Touchy subject." "Interesting." He gathered his reins. "1 week to reconsider. After that, my offers become less generous." He rode away with his men following like shadows. That night, Ezra found me loading rifles in the barn. "He will not wait a week," Ezra said. "I know. We have 5 men who can shoot. He has at least 15. "I know that too." Ezra was quiet for a moment. "What are you going to do?" I looked at the man who had fought beside me through hell and survived. "Whatever I have to." While I prepared for Redmond, my mother prepared for Charlotte. She organized dinners. She arranged introductions. She made sure Charlotte and I were never apart for long. And she made sure Ayana knew her place. I learned about it from Ezra, who heard it from the cook. My mother had summoned Ayana to her room, had told her exactly what she was. Nobody, nothing. A problem to be removed. She told the girl that if she caused any trouble, Ezra said carefully, she would make sure Ayana never found work anywhere in 500 miles. Rage burned through me. But before I could act, the storm came. It rolled in from the mountains like a wall of darkness, swallowing the sun. Lightning split the sky. Thunder shook the house. Rain fell so hard it sounded like gunfire. I was checking the horses when I heard a scream from the barn. Not fear, warning. I ran through the rain and found Ayana cornered by Garrett Finch. He was one of the newer hands, hired a month ago. Tall, mean-eyed, the kind of man who smiled when he hurt things. He had her pressed against the wall, one hand gripping her arm. "Just wanted to see if Apache girls are as wild as they say." Ayana's eyes found mine over his shoulder. In them, I saw no plea for help, only cold, burning rage. I crossed the barn in 3 strides. My fist connected with Garrett's jaw before he could turn. He hit the ground hard. Get up! He did, fists raised. She is just a savage. What do you care? I hit him again. This time he stayed down. Get off my land. If I see you again, I will kill you. He believed me. He scrambled up and ran into the rain. When I turned, Ayana was already walking away. Wait. She stopped but did not turn. Are you hurt? No. Her voice was flat. Thank you for your assistance, sir. Ayana. She flinched. I realized I had never spoken her name before. Look at me. Slowly she turned. In her eyes, I saw something unexpected. Not gratitude, anger. Why? She asked. Why did you help me? He was hurting you. She laughed, a short, bitter sound. Men have been hurting me my whole life. No one ever stopped them before. So why now? Why you? The rain hammered down around us. Lightning illuminated her face, and I saw her truly. Not as a servant, not as a ghost, as a woman who had survived things I could not imagine. I see you now, I said. That is all I can offer. I see you. She stared at me. Something shifted in her expression. Something cracked in the armor she wore. Then she walked away into the storm. The next morning, Charlotte found me in the study. You beat a man bloody over an Apache servant, she said. Before me. Before your mother. Before everyone. He attacked her. And that matters to you, her? She is a person. She has a right to be protected. Charlotte studied me with new eyes. You care for her, the Apache girl. I did not answer. I did not have to. The servants talk. Your mother talks. Everyone is asking why Caleb Thornwood would risk everything for someone like her. Someone like her? Someone with nothing to offer but scandal. Charlotte moved closer. I could offer so much more. Security, status, a future. And what do you want? A husband who sees me, who chooses me. The words struck deep. The same words Ayana might have spoken in a different world. I need time. Charlotte's smile faded. Time is running out. 3 nights later, Silas Redmond made his move. I woke to shouting and the smell of smoke. The east barn was burning. Flames leaped toward the sky. Men ran with buckets, fighting a battle they could not win. Ezra found me in the chaos, blood running from his forehead. Riders, 8, maybe 10, torched the barn, shot 15 head of cattle. He handed me a singed piece of paper. Left this. The message was short: sell or burn. 1 week, I looked at the flames consuming 3 years of stored feed. I looked at the bodies of cattle in the pasture. I looked at my men, exhausted and afraid. And I made a decision. Double the guards, no one rides alone. Anyone sees strangers, shoot first. But Redmond was not my only problem. The next morning, my mother announced the engagement would be official within the week. I was running out of time on every front. Over the following days, Ayana vanished. She worked at night, slept during the day, avoided the main house entirely. She was doing what I had asked, becoming invisible again, and I hated it. 1 week after the fire, I told Ezra the truth. I cannot marry Charlotte. He nodded slowly. Because of Ayana. Because of me. Because I cannot spend my life pretending to be someone I am not. Your mother will never accept it. I know. The town will talk. Business partners will leave. The ranch may not survive. I know. Ezra studied me for a long moment. Then he smiled just slightly. Your father would be proud. My father would call me a fool. He would, and then he would do the same thing. He married your mother when everyone told him she was beneath him, a shopkeeper's daughter. Ezra shook his head. Funny how people forget. That night I went to find Ayana. Her room was empty. I searched everywhere. Nothing. Finally, Ezra told me the truth. She packed her things this afternoon, said she would not be a burden anymore. Said she would not be the reason you lost everything. Which direction? West Road. 4 hours ago, on foot. I was in the saddle before he finished speaking. I found her 5 miles from the ranch, walking steadily through darkness, a small bag over her shoulder. She heard my horse and turned, her face pale in the moonlight. Go back, she said. I dismounted and walked toward her. No, you should be with Charlotte, with your mother, with your future. My future is not in that house. You have a ranch to save, a family to please, a woman waiting who can give you everything I cannot. Her voice cracked. What can I give you? Scandal, ruin, the contempt of everyone you know. I do not care. You should care, because I care. Tears streamed down her face. I care about what happens to you. I care about this land your father built. I care about everything you would throw away for someone who does not deserve it. Who told you that? Who told you that you do not deserve? Everyone, the word exploded out of her. Every day of my life. The soldiers who killed my family. The men who put us on reservations. Your mother. The world told me again and again that I am nothing, that I deserve nothing. She was shaking now, 3 years of silence breaking open. And the worst part is that I believe them. I still believe them. When you look at me like I matter, I want to believe you, but I cannot, because believing means hoping, and hope has never given me anything but pain. I step closer. Then do not hope. Do not believe. Just stay. Stay and let me prove it. Not with words, with time, with every day I choose to stand beside you. Why? Why would you do that? Before I could answer, gunfire shattered the night. The bullet caught me in the shoulder. I spun, falling to my knees, pain exploding through my body. Through the haze, I saw riders emerging from the trees, 5 of them, and leading them, Silas Redmond himself. Behind him rode Garrett Finch, grinning like a man who had finally gotten what he wanted. Thornwood, Silas called out, dismounting slowly. I told you my offers become less generous. You should have listened. He walked toward me, pulling his gun. Your land will be mine by morning, and no one will question how you died out here, alone, in the dark. He raised his gun toward my head. Ayana moved faster than thought. She grabbed the rifle from my saddle and fired. The bullet took Silas in the chest. He staggered back, eyes wide with disbelief, then fell. Garrett screamed in charge. Ayana fired again. He went down, clutching his leg. The other riders hesitated. That hesitation cost them. Ayana shot one, then another. The last 2 turned and ran into the night. In the sudden silence, she knelt beside me, pressing her hands against my wound. You are going to be fine. The bullet went through clean. Where did you learn to shoot like that? She almost smiled. 2 years alone in the mountains. You learn or you die. Hoofbeats thundered in the distance. Ezra and 3 ranch hands appeared over the hill. Behind them rode Sheriff Coleman from Helena. They found us surrounded by bodies, my blood soaking into Montana dirt. We got word Redmond was planning something, Ezra said. Rode to Helena for the real sheriff. Coleman surveyed the scene. Silas Redmond is finished. We found enough evidence at his ranch to hang him twice. He looked at Ayana, still kneeling beside me, hands red with my blood. That's your woman? The question hung in the air. A test. A choice. Yes, I said. She is. I spent 3 days in bed recovering. On the 4th day, my mother came to say goodbye. She stood in my doorway, dressed for travel, face unreadable. You have made your choice. I have. The Whitmores withdrew. Charlotte left this morning. She wanted me to tell you she hopes you find what you're looking for. I already have. My mother was silent. I could see her calculating, searching for an angle. You are throwing away everything your father built. No, I am building something different, something he would have understood. Her eyes flashed. Your father never would have. Father married a woman everyone said was beneath him, a shopkeeper's daughter. Or have you forgotten? The words hit their mark. Her face went pale. That was different. It was exactly the same. You just cannot see it because this time you are on the other side. She stood there, emotions warring across her face. Anger, pride, something like grief. I am returning to San Francisco. Do not expect me to return. She turned to leave, then paused. The Apache girl, Ayana. She shot 3 men to protect you. She did. I still do not approve, but I understand why you chose her. She took a breath. Your father would have done the same. Then she was gone. Charlotte came to see me before she left. She wore traveling clothes and carried herself with perfect composure. I am not angry. I want you to know that. Thank you. I came here expecting a business arrangement. I did not expect to compete with someone who would take bullets for you. She smiled slightly. I hope she knows how lucky she is. I am the lucky one. She studied me for a moment, then nodded once and walked out of my life with the same grace she had walked into it. That evening, Ayana came to my room. She stood in the doorway, uncertain for the first time since I had known her. I can still leave, she said, if it would make things easier. Nothing about you is easy, and I would not change a single thing. She stepped closer. I do not know how to do this, how to be seen, how to hope, how to believe that this is real. Neither do I. We learn together. She sat on the edge of my bed. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I was crying that morning, she said finally, when you first saw me. It was my mother's birthday. She died when I was 16. Every year I let myself grieve. Just for a moment. That is not weakness. No, it is not. She met my eyes. But it was the first time anyone saw me grieve. The first time anyone noticed my pain. She reached for my hand, her fingers intertwined with mine. You gave me that, not by saving me, just by seeing me. You were never invisible. I was just blind. Then we both learned to see. 3 months later, Ayana moved into the main house, not as a servant, not yet as a wife, as a partner, as someone who had earned her place through fire and blood and courage. We sold some land to pay debts. The ranch was smaller, but it was ours. One morning I found her on the porch at dawn, watching the sunrise paint the mountains gold. I went to stand beside her. I used to hate mornings, she said. They meant another day of being invisible. And now? She turned to look at me. In her eyes, something bright. Now I think about all the things I choose to do. There is a difference between surviving and living. I am learning to live. So am I. We stood together as light spread across the land. Mountains eternal, grass rippling like waves. The world indifferent to our struggles. But here on this porch, we had carved out something that mattered. 2 people choosing each other. Every single day. I am Caleb Thornwood. This is my land. And for the first time in years, I am not standing alone. Beside me stands a woman who was once a ghost. She walks through the front door now. She sits at the head of the table. She meets the eyes of anyone who dares look down on her. Love is not grand gestures. It is showing up. Day after day, choosing to see someone, choosing to stand beside them. The sun climbs higher. Another day begins. Ayana squeezes my hand. Ready? She asks. I look at her. At the woman who survived more than anyone should. At the strength she carries. At the softness she is learning to show. Always. Together we walk into the light. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more tales from the American West. Coming next, a gold miner discovers a map hidden in his dead father's belongings. What he finds at the end of that map is worth more than all the gold in California.